So this is the rough quadzilla. I'm going to be stripping and fixing with the parts of the balloon. We'll just take the head and barrel off, see what's going on in there first. There's compression in that, but I'll just take it off just in case. Just took the exhaust off in the head. There's the piston, and it's going up and down alright, nice and smooth. There's no chunks in the top or nothing. So we'll get the barrel off now, just check that. Not too bad in there actually. No deep grooves, usable again. This is the big end. Pull up and down on this, just make sure the big end bearing's alright. There's no play in it. You can't have movement that way, side to side, like that. But it's up and down when you pull it up and down like that. And it doesn't pull up and down, it doesn't pull up and down there, so that bearing there is good. If it was gone, this would move up and down and it would make nothing when the engine's running. So what I'm going to do now is get the blue one. Them stator plugs, I'll copy off the blue stator and put a new plug on. I don't know if the other one's kickstart and electric start, so I don't know if the harnesses are different, I'm not sure. Oh, and I'll have to put the switches, the starter switch on the handlebar to start it up as well. So that's all the parts now off the rough quadzilla. Now we'll start taking the blue one apart for the bits for that one over there. We'll just start it up. You've got to pull the back brake in and wedge that little thing in there so the back brake's wedged in. It's just cold. Don't know what this switch is for. I'll have to have a look when I take the plastics off. But that's it running anyway. So that's the seat off. Still got that in. It's a check in the air in your tyres. So it's that screw, that screw, that screw, that screw. Got to take the handlebars off, but before I take the handlebars off, I'm going to slacken this and slacken all the switch in that, because I'll need that to put onto that one. And there's two 10mm bolts in each of these sides underneath the rubber mat. So that's the throttle off, that's the switches. I've took that off as well, the safety cut out, had something wrong with it. The lad I got it off bridged it over and just taped it. They're slack, so I'll just take them out. I just have to take the bottom off there so it'll slide through the handlebars. That's them off now through the bars. So we'll take the petrol cap off. One there and one there. 10mm on each side, so we'll get them off. That's them out now, them two bolts. That's it, it was just the petrol tap on there hitting the casing when I was pulling up. So that'll come off. Just slide all them through the middle. There's a relator one, plug there, that white one, and then it'll come off. The full relay just come off there, it's just cable tied on, so let's just lift this top up. We'll see what that switch is for. Hard. It's for nothing, up on the side. So we'll disconnect the lights, which is somewhere down here. I think it's been joined up. Have I? So I'll just screw them off actually from down on the mount. That's the lights off. Screw the screws back into the panel. Same all the screws you take out, like the switches, put the screws back in. So I'm just going to take note of how the wiring goes before I put it back together. I've just looked at that there connects to that plug. You've got that red and white and that blue and white joining together, but you've got a blue and white and a red and white there, which must join into there. I don't know if this is for the backlight, so maybe that's for the backlight or something, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's unplugged. I'm just going to rig all this front harness up and just leave that to see what that must be, just one of them safety switches or something, because I'm sure these have the remote controls. What cut them out by a key fob, that might be that. Once the tank's off, it'll be easier, because I'll be able to see all the wires, and then I'll just, once the tank's off, I'll just put the wires from there onto there as I go. And we'll just take that petrol tap off, and then we can take all the tank off and everything without disconnecting it. So I might just try and leave everything on the carb, all the petrol pipes and that. So that's all the reed bolts slackened. Everything's alright in there. I want to get them off. There's the reeds. They all look alright. There you can see it move. If there's any gaps like that, it's broke. But that's good. There's the crank bearing down there. Cleaning there a bit. Cleaning there. I'll just leave this gasket on because it's a shame about that gasket. I don't know if it's totally split or not, but if it hasn't, I'll just use it again because I don't know where to buy them. I'll just use it again to start it up. So now that's the tank off out the way, see everything first. I think what's going to be easy is putting the back end of the loom onto there with the coil and all that. So I'm going to unclip all these clips because I know they'll be easy to clip back together. So we'll do that now, get this off and put it onto that side, or and put this onto this quad. And scrape all the rust off that so it's a good point for the earth. See how it's all shiny metal. So that's all the plugs off at the front. There isn't a plug for the front light. I might just cut the wires and put my own plug on. So now that's the harness through. I've just cut the wires for the front light. That's that through. That's for the automatic choke on the cob. I've already took it off. 2 cable ties. What's cable tie? Tying this brake lever on, so we'll cut them 2 cable ties. That's the cable ties cut off this brake cable. And if you look, because I was going to unplug the stator plug to take it out, there's the stator and it's already been wired, so I'm just going to cut them as well. I'll just check the colour of them. That red from the stator goes to the red and black. That white from the stator goes to the white. The yellow from the stator goes to that yellow and red. The green from the stator goes to that black. And the blue from the stator goes to the red and white. So I might actually not have to be cutting any of these actually when I've just looked, because them wires there go down to that plug. Those wires here go down there onto here. So take that one off. That's for the starter motor. I've cut that other cable tie, what leads to this, and I was thinking this leads down to the stator, which it does. So that's that. And there's just 2 more wires. If I take that wire out of there, I have to cut that off. And then this black and red one, wherever that goes to, I can take that off. And then I can just leave the stator in the bike. So the other red and black of the stator goes in there, and that will connect them to see if I can pull it apart. And that's another cable tie off the stator slackened. Just goes down into that plug there. And that's it there. So I'm going to have to cut these cable ties off as well. And that's them 2 little cable ties cut off now. I can pull that wire up. What was going to the CDI, to going to the stator, which is that one. So that's all back. There's one left off the stator, which is this white one, into this plug. So we'll get this out of this plug as well. There's a cable tie around there. I've took that off just so I remember when I put it back, because there's going to be wires everywhere. So that's the last wire of the stator, which is them there. There's the stator wires. Them there. So we'll just keep them out the way. We've just got to take the CDI off the coil. I've already took this really off here, put that on. And the loom should just slide out once the coil and that's off. Yeah, that's what I took off. So that's the coil slackened, the CDI slackened, which is down there somewhere. I can get it all out now. Let's come out like that way first. These first, so we'll put these in last. And the loom should just slide out from this side, there's nothing holding it on. The loom out. Just put in now. So just push the coil in the CDI through there first, because they fit on this side. And then when you've got it like that, you can just sort all these wires out. So So I put that relay on the back, and it's kind of sorted which way the harness goes. But I already had them, the coil and the CDI pushed through here, because these come through here. If you remember, I took them off first. So we're going to put them on now. That's the coil on. The CDI's on. I don't know which position it goes, so I haven't tightened it up. It's still movable. Because there's wires underneath. They might have to be tucked behind, but they'll probably pull over when the loom pulls over. That's the harness on here. And the rest of the loom just pushes through the back like that, because there's the relay what goes up here on the plastic. You've got your battery thingy, beautiful battery one. They're the ones that plug up at the front, and there's plenty of room for them to plug onto the plugs. And now the stator off the rough one, I'm going to make plugs for it. Just copy off this stator, there's a free plug there, and I didn't know it needed bullet connectors, I didn't bring them down, but we'll just put the free plug on anyway, that white one there. So it's the white, the black and the red, and the all black wire goes to that plug. That's what we're going to be putting on, them 3 connectors with this tool here. This crimps them. That's the 3 wires crimped, so we'll just copy off the plug on that one over there and put this plug onto here. So that's the plug on now. It's just the same colours as that one there. Shame I didn't bring the bullet connectors. And I noticed before, the starter motor's got that terminal on, so there must be a little harness on there to go onto this one, so I'll have a look. This is the rough quad with the harness off the blue one on. I've just cut them wires there and stripped them, because I'm going to put a plug on. You just see the front lights right there. I'm going to cut that and put a plug on there as well. And I've just sold a set of these lights on eBay a few weeks ago, so I know which plug to go onto them. So that plug goes onto there. I've got the picture saved in my phone, so I know which wire goes in which side. And that's the positions the wires go in the plug for the clocks, for the headlights I mean. So I'll put the other plug onto the harness now. That's the plug on now for the lights. It just saves, if I ever got to take it to bits again, you can just unclip it like that. So I don't know if I put it on before, but I'm just copying this so I know which way this loom goes. So it goes down there, comes out that way, goes up there to this plug here. So we'll put that on the other one now. And the red connectors have the starter motor, but the black one in here goes underneath, and I can't get to it. So I'm just going to take this starter motor off as well, so I can test that on that in case that starter motor's broke on that one. The top bolts out of the starter. That's the bottom bolt, but it's hard to get to. So get one of those, put it into the Allen key at the bottom. That's it there. So that's the bottom bolt out the starter. We'll pull it off. There might be a rubber seal behind there, just to see where be gentle to see where that black wire goes. We won't pull nothing off. And the black wire there just earths onto the thingy, so that's alright then. So now I'm going to crimp those onto the other stator. It's red and black wire, and red and white. It looks red and yellow, but it's red and white. We'll do that now. And I'm going to put a plug onto the clocks on the yellow one on the front, because that hasn't got a plug on, just so that can be plugged apart and unplugged, and so that instead of having to cut wires like this one was, the blue one. And that's the 2 connectors clamped onto the rough quadzilla now. So now I'm going to take the starter motor off the yellow rough one, because just before, as you've seen, I took the starter motor off this blue one over here, and I'll just be putting the blue starter motor on here because I know it works. And then after it works, I'll swap it and try it with this one. So that's the starter motor bolts, both slackened. They weren't in very tight actually. They were in tight, but not that tight. They're just both the same size. so it doesn't get muddled up putting them back in. So we'll just pull this starter off. So, there's the black wire. It's just been cut. I might have just been able to join that black wire to wherever it goes to on the harness on here. Actually, it's the harness what's still on the blue bike, that one. This one what's made out of flexi tube. So we'll take that harness off with the starter motor, which is already off, and put it onto this bike. So that's the starter on the yellow one. This is the harness coming off it. I know that white plug needs to go up here somewhere, but that there needs to plug onto the starter motor, so I'll plug that on now. That's that plugged onto the starter motor. And that's plugged in, just pull this loom up. Doesn't matter where it goes, as long as it doesn't hit the exhaust, because I can cable tie it to places. And I've got the video off before where it showed everywhere where it went on this quad. So I'm just going to put the handlebars on with the switches and plug them into the plugs on this one. This is the yellow one. I've took all the carb off just because it would be easier for the switches. And the little pump down here, you've got that cable there with that. You just pull on this cable here, it spins that pump round. Then when the pump comes round, you just pop it out of there. It's got this little black rubber bit which fits in there. So we'll get the carb on that onto there with the switches, and that's the carb on. I haven't tightened it up yet. I'm starting to put the handlebars on so I can put the switches on. I've just put the back brake cable on because it's all connected up to the front cable and the switches. The cable runs down that side of the stem. So now we'll get these on the handlebars. That's the switches on now. Now I'll put the throttle on. And on each side of the switches, they've got that little circle there. It just fits in that part of the handlebar, keeps everything level. That's the handlebars on now with the throttle and the switches. I'm just going to rig all the plugs up, the one off the stator, the automatic choke on the carb. So that's the carb clamp tightened. I'm going to take this old pedal tap off this one, it's just wired on or cable tied, and put this one on, and then put the petrol tank off that one onto this one as well. So that's the petrol tap on. I've rigged it up with the carb, it's rigged up with the tank, but I know I'll take that off and rig it down here, down to the carb, and you're able to plug them switches into the CDI. So that's nearly everything on the yellow one. I've joined that wire there, which I made for the stator. This wire here, what I made for the stator. One of them plugs, it's a free plug, I don't know which one, but I plugged all the others in as well. I plugged down there, I plugged the headlights in. You've got that plug there, and the blue and white and the red and white bridged together, and that's brown and black. If you look on this one, there it is there. It wasn't used, it must just be that, like I said in the earlier video, it must be one of them cut off switches. So I've just left that. Everything's rigged up. I want to put the petrol tank on properly. Just take the pipe off and run it under there. So that's the petrol pipe rerouted. Everything's on. I'm just going to rig the battery up. Put the spark plug in the coil because I'll put the coil off that one on. And just see if we've got a spark. Just to make sure the stator works in this one. And I've just rigged the battery up. The back brake thing's in. So it starts. It doesn't start with that. That's what that wire is for. I'm going to touch the starter now. It's all turned over. I just need to get a gasket, a base gasket. I don't know where to. I've just put a bit of gasket round the base, and the gasket that was on it was just split, so I've just gasketed it all up. Piston's ready to go on, so we'll just put that on now. We'll just push the barrel back on now. And it's just a temporary fit. So that's the barrel pushed on. I'll get the head on now and tighten it up so it nips all that sealant up. I've just had to use that head gasket because when I thought I had a gasket kit, that's different to the base gasket, and I was going to use that. The holes are here. It's like this one, what's on the cord now is bigger. I don't know what this is off. We'll get the head on, we'll tighten them 4 nuts. That's the head on now. I've lost one of the nuts, so I just had to pinch one off that one. I've just bought a new battery because the one last night was turning it over but it wasn't sparking, and I'm hoping that the new battery might do something. So it's because that little switch isn't pushed in. The lad I got off had tape over. Right, that's pushed in now. Watch off so you can see the spark better. So that's good, it's sparking. Stator I rigged up in here is working. Saves taking the stator out of that one, because I thought that's all I was going to have to do. So all it needs now is the exhaust on, the plastics on. I put a new plug on the headlights to go into the yellow plastics, so it can just be unplugged and plugged from the harness. And I was in the loft on this frame of one what I stripped ages ago, and it still had the loom on. I forgot I was taking off, but anyway, I've took the loom off. The loom worked on the bike, just 2 wires. You had to join the 2 wires underneath it, and it started it up and then unjoin the wires. So I'm going to copy that off that working harness, and then I'll have a working harness as well. And don't forget that little ring before I put the exhaust on. Goes in there. So we'll get the exhaust on now. So that's how I've got the plugs all. They're all joined up. I've took the tank off, pulled them all back. This needs to come up through where the battery is when the plastic's on. So I pulled all these back this way. There's the little relay what fits onto the yellow plastic as well. Lift them up just so they're not resting on the head. The exhaust on now as well. So now it's just the plastics on, so we'll get the plastic on. And the tank won't go down properly, so I'm going to have to unplug all them wires and the carb wire and that, the throttle cable, and run them under this way up here. So that's it now, all the handlebars on, all the switches, like I see on that little red safety switch. I have to tape that in so it's closed like that. I've got the harness pulled through, that relay fits onto here. There's one battery wire, and there's the other, so we're nearly there. So I've just got it tipped up on the back wheels, just till I got all the plugs in. There's all the plugs wired up. The wires I made for the front 2 lights stretched, so they reached that, which I was happy about. But there's tons of room. So it's just battery on now, and then start it up. That's all the wiring and the battery on now. Just going to put the seat on. So that's everything on now. The battery, the seat. I couldn't get my finger in to turn the pedal tap on. In there. The other one must have a bigger hole in, I think. Anyway, we'll give it a try. I've taped that switch up. Forgot you got to pull that in. I've just took the plug out and checked it, and it wasn't sparking. And when I took this off, what I've taped up, and then pushed that in, it was working, so we'll give it a go now. All working now. checking if the headlights might be working. No, they're not. Just needs the tick over screw turned up. It's going to cut out, but at least it's done now.